Take a look at these three houses. If you recognized any of these houses, then guess what? You are probably a millennial. Hey guys, I'm Mike, and I just want to welcome everyone to the channel. If you've been following this video series so far, then you know that we've already talked about the first and second stages of the home buying process. And today, we're going to dive into the third stage, which is the home shopping category. I'm going to give you a few different tips and things to consider when shopping for a home, starting with realtors. Alright, if you saw the previous video, then you know that out of the 4 different types of mortgages listed here, the conventional mortgage with a 20% down payment and a 15-year fixed interest rate is going to save you the most money when it comes to financing a home. So now that we know how we're going to pay for a home, the next step in the home buying process is to find a good realtor. So a realtor or a real estate agent is the licensed intermediary between either a buyer or seller in a real estate transaction. When the real estate agent represents the seller, they are known as the listing agent. And when they are representing the buyer, they are known as the buyer's agent. For the purpose of this video, we are interested in buying a home as a millennial. So we're going to focus on the buyer's agent and how they can help us navigate the entire home buying process. So think of a buyer's agent as your personal shopper. Their job is to help you all throughout the home buying process, from finding your dream home to eventually closing on a deal. They often handle all the negotiations and paperwork involved in a real estate transaction and even advise you on any red flags they may find when you're inquiring about a particular home. So definitely make sure your buyer's agent has plenty of experience, as that helps save you a lot of time and money when it comes to buying your first home. I recommend a few things when it comes to finding an experienced real estate agent. 1. Make sure they are a realtor and are part of the National Association of Realtors. This is a trade organization where the real estate agent agrees to comply with the group's formal code of ethics. 2. Make sure they are a buyer's agent and are familiar with the local area you want to live in. It's important to make sure the real estate agent is only representing the buyer as opposed to both parties, as you don't want there to be any conflict of interest. It's also important that they have a thorough understanding of what similar properties are selling for in the area you are interested in living. 3. Ask friends and family for referrals. Asking people that you trust for recommendations on real estate agents they may have used in the past is a great way to get connected with a competent real estate agent. I can share with you a quick personal story of my experience with a recent real estate agent. So first off, my family is in the process of moving and we are using a local listing agent to sell our home. We didn't ask our friends or family for a referral. We just went with her because she represents one of the few real estate brokerages in town. Now, the 2 biggest complaints so far are that she is not tech savvy and has not been very proactive with selling our home. So I ended up taking pictures of our home for the online listing. And when it came time to send them to the listing agent, she couldn't figure out how to download them using Google Drive or Dropbox. Now, this wasn't a big deal, but it was a little annoying, especially since working remotely is more common now, and it seems like a majority of us are familiar with using these online collaborative platforms. Besides not being tech savvy, my family has had to wait multiple weeks just for her to post our house for sale online. Now, I'm sure there's probably some administrative things that she has to do on her end that we are not aware of. but I think at a minimum, she could have been a little more open with her communication with us during this process to help keep us informed. These are the things you can find out about a real estate agent when you ask your friends and family for referrals. Now that we're a little more familiar with a real estate agent's role and how we can find a reliable one using our network of friends and family, let's now talk about another thing we need to consider when shopping for a home. And that's going to be picking the right neighborhood and home to live in. So if this is your first time buying a home, then you're probably feeling a little overwhelmed about deciding where you want to live for the next 15 plus years. Do I want to live in a city or in the countryside? How long will my commute to work be? What happens if I end up having kids in the future? These are all common questions you'll have to consider when trying to figure out where you would like to live. Luckily, to help narrow your search down a bit, you can start by figuring out how much house you can afford. You can start by getting a pre-approval letter from either your bank or mortgage lender. This essentially is paperwork that shows the realtor and seller that you are a serious buyer. It's how much money the lender is comfortable letting you borrow for the purchase of a home. The letter doesn't 100% mean you'll be able to borrow that amount, as you still have to get the home appraised and inspected prior to the bank giving you full approval. But the pre-approval letter is a good start to figuring out how much house you can afford. Once you have a better idea of how much you can realistically spend on a house, then you can start narrowing down your search for what kind of neighborhood you want to live in. Using myself as an example, I currently am single with 0 dependents, so I would ideally base my neighborhood search around work and transportation. I would prefer to move somewhere that doesn't require a vehicle and has a good public transportation system. So I would most likely be searching in a major city where the housing prices are expensive. But since I probably couldn't afford to buy a house directly in the city, I would have to live on the outskirts, which would mean that my commute to work would probably be longer. So you can see there are definitely trade-offs when it comes to finding a neighborhood you want to live in. I think the best way to deal with the pros and cons of different neighborhoods is to make a list. Have one side be for all the things that you absolutely cannot live without, and the other side be things you prefer but could live without. You can then give this list to your real estate agent and they can work with you on finding an ideal neighborhood that fits your needs. Once you and your real estate agent have identified a few interesting neighborhoods to potentially live in, the next step is to narrow your search down even more and figure out what type of home you would like to live in. Do you want a move-in ready home with granite countertops and fancy appliances? Or would you prefer a fixer-upper, which may help you save a little more money? You'll have to keep in mind property taxes, insurance, and whether or not you'll have to pay HOA fees for the property. These are all things you can discuss with your real estate agent, who can then start setting up some open houses for you to see. I think for me, since I don't have any kids or anything, I could probably get away with living in a fixer-upper as my first property. But since I'm a millennial, I would love to have a condo downtown in a major city where the homeowners association does all the maintenance on the property. That would be the dream. What about you guys? If you're looking to buy a home at some point in the future, what does that property look like to you? Is it a single family home or a condo? Is it located in the city or the countryside? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Stay frugal, fam.